The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
So in Eretz Yisrael in Israel, there was a farmer, totally secular guy, not religious at all. His name was Gibor Koach. Now, why a parent would name a kid Gibor Koach? Right? Maybe he was born a little Hulk. Right? He was born like a 12-pound bruiser. Maybe that's why the parents named him that. But we'll see soon that that's not why. There's a very deep reason. But a Gibor Koach like literally means, mighty strength. All right, maybe that's a Greek way of naming a kid. Maybe the Greeks would give the kid a name like that. Although when I was in Israel, I met the most odd sounding, I met a guy whose name was Nimrod, a Jewish guy with the name Nimrod. I met a guy whose name was Esav. It's biblical names, I guess, But this is something else. So Gibor Koach was a farmer, and for him, it wasn't even a question to keep Shemita, to keep the sabbatical year. That's religion. That's the Torah. I don't keep the Torah. 2008, things changed. The Keren HaShviyos is a foundation to subsidize, to help support the farmers to be able to observe Shemita. They make an Otzer Bezdin. There's a whole process. Somehow, he was persuaded or cajoled to be part of this. And even though he's not religious, he went along. Now, he has banana crops. Bananas actually grow pretty, in Israel, it's a big, big industry. I think well over 150,000 tons of bananas. And it's the region, Jordanian Valley, but also in Tiberias, that's where he had his banana crops. And bananas, of course, bananas are great. My favorite vegetable. Now, when I say that, people say, what do you mean, bananas are fruit? You make a bari parades, or you make a bari paradom? You make a bari paradom on bananas. Bananas are perennials. They are halachically, they are vegetables. They grow on shrubs. They don't grow on trees. It's not a tree. It may look like a tree. Bananas are amazing. I encourage everybody to eat a banana a day. Hashem made it for you. Bananas also can be very useful and handy if you forget your telephone. You can use the banana as a telephone. Right, bananas have magnesium and folate and potassium and vitamin C and vitamin B6. One of the wonders of Hashem. So he grew bananas, and I don't know if you remember, in 2008 there was a terrible frost that came to Israel, and where he grew his bananas, so right encroaching on his fields, on his farmland, bordering his farmland, were other farmers that also grew bananas, his colleagues, his friends. And because of the frost, all the crops were destroyed. The bananas turned brown and frozen, devastating, crippling. The economy was terrible, and the poor farmers, they sustained huge, none of those farmers kept the Shemitah, he was the only one. They sustained huge losses. They called him one after another. They said, Gibor Koach! That's all they could say is, Kara! What happened is terrible, terrible, terrible. And poor Gibor Koach, he was expecting the worst. He had to go survey his land. They all went already. He just, he couldn't, be sovelit. He couldn't, contain it. There was so much, his whole career, his whole sustenance. So in order to get into his field, he has to pass by the other fields, and he sees, his heart goes out to his friends, his colleagues, and he sees everything's destroyed. Until he gets into his field, and he's expecting, he's preparing, not to have a heart attack. And then he opens up his eyes, and he sees the most magnificent, marvelous sight. He sees something that looks idyllic, that looks like a dream. The most luscious and succulent bananas, yellow, fresh, could go right to the stores, money. And he starts screaming, Karanes, Karanes, Karanes. And he calls up the Keren HaShviyos immediately, and they think that he lost his mind. They knew that, the frost, Karanes, Karanes. And he takes pictures. The Keren HaShviyos representatives, they fly down to Israel, they look, and they say, wow, he kept Shemita, and Shemita kept him. And it's a modern-day miracle. V'tzivisi es brachasi, God says, I command my blessing to those that keep Shemita. You want to see God? All the bordering, surrounding, all devastated, destroyed, dead. He's the only one. He keeps Shemita. Everything is alive. Like fresh, new. But what's the amazing thing, be more even amazing? Look at the Medrash Vayikra Rabbah. And it describes people, strength of character. What is a real Gibor? And you know what it says? It says the exact words, Gibori Koach, that keep Shemita. You want to know what strength of character is? Those that have to fight the temptation, those that have to fight their peers and contemporaries in society, stand strong. And what does it say? The same words, Gibori Koach, Gibor Koach. I think that when his parents named him probably like close to 70 years ago, they say every parent has Ruach HaKodesh, and they named their baby. They knew that one day he would be the greatest exemplification or personification of this medrash, modern day miracle for those that keep the Torah.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org